2 weeks left. Let's preview week 26 up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Friday, September 15th. I am Frank Samfel, joined by Scott White. Let's take a look at the schedule. We've got 11 teams with 7 games next week, 18 teams with 6 games, and 1 unlucky team with 5 games, the Arizona Diamondbacks. What about the Rockies? They have 6 games. All of them are on the road this upcoming week. Starters sit these fringe 2-star pitchers. Michael Wacha is home against the Rockies and the Cardinals.
I'm going to lean yes on that. One great matchup, one pretty good matchup. I know Wacha hasn't been at his best the past couple turns, but, basically 2 years worth of data and being good. I say yes.
Lance Lynn, home against the Tigers, home against the Giants.
Great matchups, but very dangerous pitcher here in Lance Lynn. I think you almost have to in a points league to maximize your volume, but in a categories league, I'd rather not.
Yusei Kikuchi at the Yankees and at the Rays.
Also just a points league play.
Eduardo Rodriguez, Jekyll and Hyde matchups at the Dodgers and at the Oakland A's.
Yeah, so I don't think Rodriguez is a must in a points league. If you're looking to maximize volume, it's not the worst idea. I wish the Dodgers matchup was second rather than first. So in case the Tigers shake up the rotation and Rodriguez doesn't end up making 2 starts, he's not stuck with only a Dodgers start. That makes it a little more dangerous.
Kyle Harrison at the D-backs and at the Dodgers.
Nope.
Cal Quantrill at the Royals and home against the Orioles.
I know he's been good since coming back from the IL, but with basically no strikeouts at all, and I don't trust it.
John Means at the Astros at the Guardians.
Yeah, his return from the IL wasn't good enough for me to go with him either.
Kyle Wright versus the Phillies and at the Nationals.
And the same thing I said for Means is doubly true for Wright.
All right, 2-star pitchers to add and stream for next week. You've got 9 names on the list. Who are they?
Ryan Pepio against the Tigers, against the Giants. Those same favorable matchups as Lance Lynn, but Pepio has been very reliable since joining the Dodgers rotation and is my favorite sleeper pitcher for this week. Edward Cabrera is a player of extremes. He may get double-digit strikeouts with matchups as good as the Mets and Brewers. He may get double-digit walks. Probably not double-digit walks, but he had 6 walks in his last outing. He's done that a few times this year. It kind of depends the state you're in if you want to shoot for the upside with Cabrera, but there is a lot of upside with those matchups in particular. Mike Clevenger, 3 of his last 4 starts have been nothing short of terrific, and then the other of the 4 was a disaster. So I'd prefer to leave him for points leagues too, but he gets the Nationals in his first start and the Red Sox in his second, does Mike Clevenger. Brian Wu, his matchups are also bipolar, like Clevenger's, at the A's, at the Rangers. But Wu has looked good since coming back from his little forearm injury. Javier Assad, I don't think he's that good of a pitcher, and he has kind of slowed down his past couple terms, but he gets the Pirates and the Rockies both at home. Very favorable matchups there. Logan Allen at Kansas City versus Baltimore. Really good matchup, not so good matchup. Even when he's good, he tends not to work deep into games. So Logan Allen is, not as high a priority of a sleeper here. Christopher Sanchez at the Braves. Scary matchup, but he just had a really good start against the Braves last time out. Second matchup against the Mets is much better. More so than that Braves matchup, the reason I have Sanchez this low, though, is because it sounds like he could piggyback with Michael Lorenzen moving forward. So that could limit his workload. A couple A's pitchers here to round out the list. They're both going against the Mariners and Tigers. Paul Blackburn, JP Sears. Obviously, pitching for the A's hurts them, but those are 2 good matchups.
All right, let's slide over to the hitters, the best matchups for next week. The Guardians, Brewers, Padres, Reds, and Cubs. The worst hitter matchups, Angels, Giants, D-backs, Mets, and the Rockies. With that said, Scott, your favorite sleeper hitters for week 26?
Tough week for sleeper hitters. I'm kind of breaking a couple of my own rules here with some of these selections. The Rockies, as you mentioned, on the road, fifth worst matchups. I'm still recommending Nolan Jones, who I think is just straight up good. And, his road splits are good too. Also, Chris Bryant, who's looked good since coming back from the IL and has a bit of a history. Mitch Garver at present, he has the injury tag next to his name. He left Thursday after fouling a ball off his foot, but it's just a bruise. And so as long as he returns over the weekend, I think he's close to a must for next week with as well as Garver has performed recently. Jorge Polanco can take advantage of favorable matchups for the Twins. His performance has kind of been overshadowed by what Royce Lewis has been doing, but Polanco's been very good recently too. Zach Geloff, I think he's just undervalued. Lars Nootbaar, same thing. And the Cardinals are facing only one lefty next week. TJ Friedl has been hot here recently and has a full week of home games for the Reds. Home is where he's hit 10 of his 14 home runs. Good part for him to maximize his power. Brewers, you mentioned, have the second best matchups. Not a bad time to use Sal Frelick. Evan Carter with nothing but righties on the schedule for the Rangers. Not a bad time to try out the rookie. Wilyer Abreu continues to do well for the Red Sox and should play a lot with only one lefty on the schedule for them.
All right, for more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.